Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so I just want to apologize for the lateness of posting this video. Sorry, I've just been trying to catch up with the grading and focusing on the papers that everyone posted up last week to make sure that you get some comments from me. Okay, um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna focus on like the due date, but focus more particularly on the structure of the essay and sort of integrate the justification for each section in terms of how to go about writing the essay, which is basically going to be a reflection paper of the work that you did with the paper that you submitted to me last week. Okay. So the paper is going to be due this coming Friday, October 18th, on 2024, and submitted by 11:59 in the evening. All right. So basically, very quickly, the purpose. So in pedagogy, is a theory of how teachers instruct and how students learn. This is a mutually reinforcing relationship. Part of a pedagogical experience is reflecting on what you have done to complete any research project. For example, Socrates, an ancient Greek philosopher, stated that an unexamined life is not worth living because without critical reflection, there is no development of what may be morally right or wrong. But also, how would you expect to develop your worldview? You can take the same principle to intellectual development. Without critical reflection, how would you expect to develop your intellectual faculties? From the perspective of the modern student, students are extremely busy with their personal work and school life. Juggling all three and the respective consequences for your life is ongoing. It does not stop for any reason. While you're in academic mode, you have to meet the university's criteria for graduation. The state in this scenario would be Sacramento and other organizations in California. The organization that accredits CS or Dominguez Hills is the Western Association of Schools, which governs guidelines for your degree to be recognized as legitimate. Because without actually these three institutions, your degree would just be an overpriced piece of paper. Okay. But this is what gives your degree value. And you want your degree to mean something and be competitive in the labor market. Okay. All right. Now, the objective for this essay. So, this essay that you are going to write is called the reflexive paper. The topic for the reflection essay is to reflect on the work you had done for the peer editing exercise. I want you to be honest with your writing, critical in your assessment, and collegial. When you write your reflection paper, you do not forget to describe and explain. Refer back to the first module where I discussed the importance of description and explanation. Just as a side note, because some of the editing exercising papers that was able to read for in the last 2 days or so do not do that. Are not certain students are not describing what they're doing or explaining the reasons why they're doing certain things in the essay, right? So, like for example, if I say um, I'm hungry, well, what would be the follow up question? What do you want to eat, or where do you want to go eat? Right. So, like, this is sort of the thing that's missing in the writing is the ability to be able to describe and then explain that description, right? Or when you make a claim, be able to identify evidence from the text itself to support what you are saying of the text, right? That's also been missing in some of the papers that I've graded so far. Okay. All right, so let me continue. Sorry for like that bracketed comments. Okay. The key element of engaging in the reflexive process is that it can solidify your understanding of theory, methodology, argumentation, the use of empirical evidence, and above all, improve writing. Engaging in the reflexive process allows you to distance yourself from the time you finished your manuscript in order to contemplate, evaluate what you may not have fully accomplished in the text, and appreciate the things that you were able to accomplish. And finally, what insights you gain from the entire process. In this regard, you are now an intellectual. Congratulations. All right. So this is sort of what you're going to be doing. As I mentioned, like my expectations for you is to go to grad school, because oddly enough, earlier this morning, I had a former student from Dominguez Hills call me because I helped her apply to graduate school. And she just called me to let me know this morning that she passed her doctoral exam. Right, which means that now she's at the end of her program where she's ABD, which means all but dissertation. So now she just has to do her research, collect her data for her dissertation, and then basically do what I'm having you do for this class. Right. So there is a certain reasoning to my madness or madness to my reasoning to be able for you, if you do decide to get to the position of the current my former student who's currently finishing up her doctorate. Okay. So this is why I do the things that I do to help you eventually get to that point, if that's what you decide for yourself. All right, so I'll just leave that there. Okay. Now, the directions. So you're to write like a 5 to 7 page essay reflecting on the editing of peers' essay. The topic you are to write is about your experience reading and evaluating your peers' essay. Be honest, be forthright, be courteous, and above all, be professional. All right. Okay. So then the materials that you're going to be using for this particular essay are the same as you did for the first half of this exercise. You're going to use the Paul and Elder's text, the miniature guide to critical thinking concepts and tools, as well as how to write a paragraph, the art of substantive writing, and of course, using Purdue OWL, which is the online writing lab, to help you clarify like writing mechanics and citations and formatting and whatnot, as well as you should have a dictionary and a thesaurus either physical by your side or online, like tabbed on your web browser. Okay. Because part of this process that I'm also carrying through is to also help develop your vocabulary, right? Because if you if your vocabulary does not change by the end of the semester of a class that you're taking, that's wasted time, right? Because you're not only are you supposed to be engaging in this process with the professor, but you're also in the process of acquiring the linguistic terminology of the discipline, so you become familiar and learn how to use these concepts in the proper context. Okay, so you want to be able to develop or take note of how your language develops within the context of the class. All right, and that's also important. Okay, and then lastly, before I get into the actual structure, please follow the directions and formatting. The essays to be double spaced. Make sure that you use Times New Roman and no other font will be accepted, and the font should be no smaller, larger than 12-point font. Make sure the paper is formatted with 1 inch margins and provide a works cited page at the end of the manuscript. All right, so I'm going to stop it here and then go through the sections of the essay. Okay.